You know, a poll came out today. Actually, Dr. Carson's second. He's a nice guy. I can't hit him. He's been so nice to me. It's true. I cannot hit him. And Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz, has been so nice to me. I can't hit him. I may have to if he starts getting, like, really close. I may have to.
It looks like Donald Trump is softening on two potential rivals. Does this signify a potential VP choice? With me now, president of the Republican political organization GOP, strategist David Avella. Good evening, David.
Judge, good to be with you.
Well, listen, does this softening indicate a potential VP choice for Donald Trump?
Well, we never know quite what's on Mr. Trump's mind, but today he's praising Ben Carson and Senator Cruz. But let me say, I think there's also a very strong case to be made that Ted Cruz is trying to get as close to Donald Trump as Donald Trump is to Senator Cruz. Look, Donald Trump is #1 in the polls.
Well, but so Cruz needs it more than Donald does.
That's exactly right. Ted Cruz is the one who invited Donald Trump to the rally that he's putting on to fight the Iran deal here in Washington. So, again, the case could very easily be made that folks are now trying to get as close to Trump that should he stumble, should he not make it to the nomination, that they can pick up his supporters.
And, you know, the joining of Ted Cruz to that rally against the Iran deal is something that's very significant. We haven't seen Donald do anything like this, do anything joint with any of the other candidates. But, you know, I want to talk about Ben Carson for a minute. Now, Ben Carson made this surge to second place. You know, everybody else seemed to, you know, drop down before Donald started talking positive about him. Are the American people so fed up with politicians that they'll take a medical doctor and a real estate developer any day to a politician?
All good points, Jeanine. Let me say this, though. You know, it's not, it doesn't take brain surgeon to be elected president of the United States, but if it does, Ben Carson's in a good spot. Having done that most of his career. Let me say this, though, about Ben Carson. He's surging. He's doing a lot of good things on the campaign trail. His challenge now to keep the momentum going is to be able to start raising money, to be able to get more people to know who he is, be able to get his supporters to actually turn out at Iowa caucuses. And his biggest challenge right now is not having the money that when attack ads start, which they're going to do, Judge. You've been in politics long enough to know the attack ads are going to start. He has to have the money to not only defend himself, but he also has to have the money to be able to make sure voters who don't know who he is now get to know him.
Look at this map of the swing states, David. How does a Carson or a Cruz help him? And I've always believed that these presidential elections are about 7 states. And we've got Colorado, Florida, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Virginia. So, you know, how does a Ted Cruz from Texas help him? You know, how does Ben Carson help him? Or is Donald just looking to a politician to balance out his own ticket?
Well, vice presidential nominees ultimately come down to just the selection of our nominee. So you never know totally what someone is looking for in their VP. But here's what they should look for. They should be looking for the man or woman who shares most of their ideas and, more importantly, will be a good partner in helping them govern. Because the reality is VPs don't elect presidents. Nominees elect presidents. And so there's never been a good track record of those of us who have tried to speculate on who the VP was going to be, and that person actually end up being the VP.
Let me ask you this. You know, Hillary said that Republicans are like terrorists. Take a listen to this.
Extreme views about women, we expect that from some of the terrorist groups. We expect that from people who don't want to live in the modern world. But it's a little hard to take coming from Republicans who want to be the president of the United States.
Comparing Republicans to terrorists is a little extreme, do you think?
Judge, you can't take a comment like that seriously. And it says much about the strength of Hillary Clinton's campaign that the buzz for 2 weeks now has been about whether Vice President Biden was going to get in. in this race. And the fact is, Vice President Biden was irrelevant in both times that he ran for president, including against her in 2008.
So what are they going to do real quickly?
Who knows what the vice president's going to do? That's up to him to do.
What will the Democratic Party? They can't stick with her, can they, David?
Well, today I would say she's still going to be the nominee, but Bernie Sanders is going to give her a run for his money. And there's another one, Judge. I mean, Bernie Sanders isn't even a Democrat, yet he very well could get the nomination.
Right.
Unlikely today. Unlikely the vice president's going to get the nomination today. But so today, if you're going to go to Vegas, put your money on Hillary Clinton. But she's the weakest Democratic nominee they have had in decades.
You would appreciate that, I'm sure. David Avella, thanks for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
And still ahead, why is Hillary Clinton still in the race? Are her supporters even losing steam? But next, back to our top story. A sheriff's deputy murdered while pumping gas in Houston. Late details on the suspect next.